I mean, you touched on it a little bit. It's hard to go against Fenhouse in a Dells race. Like, I don't know what it is. He's just got this place figured out.
It's hard to go against Fenhouse at a Dell's race, and then when he shows up with a brand new race car.
Yep.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the 125th edition of the Tuesday Track Talk podcast featuring your Three Stones pit crew. I am your gas man, Cam.
Jack Mankel.
I'm your tire changer Cam.
And before we get into this episode, don't be afraid to like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate everybody that follows along here with us on this YouTube channel and gives us a listen and is officially racing season and riding along with us as we start really getting into the local racing season and things get off and rolling. So as always, don't be afraid to like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate all you guys that follow along. So outside of that, we got another jam-packed episode. And as I just alluded to it, racing season is officially getting rolling for us up here in the great state of Wisconsin. Had our first big show here, the Icebreaker at the Dells. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that. We had some boots on the ground there, and then we had a doozy on Sunday with Bristol and the Cup Series. And so we got a few topics here that we're going to talk about with that Cup Series race. But before we get into things here, checking in, how we doing?
We're dodging the weather like we were over the weekend, kind of right now. So if we have somebody coming in and out, or one of us is in or out, the weather's not fantastic right now. So we're just hoping we can keep this thing together for another 45 minutes.
Yeah, I just had the sirens go off, and it wasn't the Dawsonville sirens. So,
Yeah,
but
kind of tells you the situation we're in up here.
yeah, I will say this. I with today as well. I'm tired of rain, especially after what we dealt with this weekend at the Dells. So,
Yeah,
um, we'll dive into that a little bit. But otherwise, no, it was good to get back out to the racetrack again. Program or scanners working as it should. The backpack situation, getting that refigured out again. Um, and we're getting the weather situation, the scenario already playing out. So,
yeah.
Yeah, that time of year where a lot of our lives revolve around the radar and the forecast.
yeah.
Um, so for a lot of us and traveling to
We
the
got
racetrack and
that, and we have a new shot caller in Madison.
yeah,
Yep, new
yeah,
AD.
we got a couple new shot callers in Madison there. Speaking of which, changing topics a little bit there. Looking for a new athletic director now. Looking for a new what is it, president or chancellor?
Chancellor and a new president of the system.
Yeah. So if there's anybody out there that is qualified and willing to funnel boatloads of money to the football program, please send your
Or
application in.
or just answer Big Cat's call or email.
Yeah. So that's that's another thing that we've got going on here. So um outside of that, let's get rocking and rolling here. We got things to talk about. So let's hop in here first section here. Jack, man, I think you got some news for us. So let's hit some news from on top of the Pitbox.
Yeah, pretty straightforward day of news. It's pretty much all NASCAR related except for the last one. Parker Kligerman, next man up in the called free agent truck at Texas. So out of the booth into the trucks, makes his return to racing. Cletus McFarland has been in the news of late. He is not approved to run the O'Reilly's race at Talladega. So NASCAR says he needs a little more experience before they will put him on a super speedway. NASCAR announces changes to the lengths of stages at Talladega in response to the fuel saving games. So, changing the lengths of the stages so that guys can just race instead of ride around three wide at the front of the field and hold everyone up. And the last one in NASCAR, they are bringing back the preseason Thunder with testing at Daytona prior to the 500. So, going to give teams and drivers more on track time prior to the season starting. Last one, this one hits home a little bit more, and I think we could talk on this for a long time. A lot of states have passed it. In the state of Wisconsin, the governor has vetoed the right to race bill. So, for those that are unfamiliar with that, Iowa passed it. Basically, it's a bill stating if you move into a racetrack that is active, or move next to a racetrack that is active, if the track is active prior to you moving there, you cannot take legal action against the racetrack. So, whether that be noise complaints or any inner workings of a racetrack.
Any other nuisance complaints?
Correct. So that bill was not passed in the state of Wisconsin. So we could talk on that for a long time. We're just going to leave it at that.
Yep.
So that's what we got for news.
That is, yeah, it's always it, yeah. Interesting topic, and from wherever people stand in the racing background, like there's a couple topics that always unite. We can disagree on a lot of things in the racing world, but bills like that, the right to race, is one thing that feels like always is. Doesn't matter where you're at in racing, what level, something that always unites and people get behind, and to ensure that where our racetracks are protected. But yeah, this is not a politics not a politics podcast, so we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. But needless to say, it sucks. So, yeah, that's what we got for news here. Pretty straightforward, and now let's get into talking about some of the good stuff. Racing. So, we had our first big show up here at Dells Raceway Park. Fantastic track and facility. We had the Midwest trucks in action, and super late models was the Live for 5.
Yep.
So we had those two in action. And yeah, first event of the year for us. Big car counts and some gremlins that come with the first race of the year. So we had boots on the ground here, tire changer there. He's always, if you're in Wisconsin and you're at a racetrack, it's probably about a 90% hit rate that the tire changers at the track. So just look for his ugly mug someplace in top row with a headset on, and you'll see him. So he was sitting in, I'm assuming, turns 1 and 2 this weekend.
Sure was.
Turn
sure
one.
Was.
So yeah, let's talk some Midwest Truck Series, and obviously a big storyline there. Blake Brown back in the Truck Series gets a big win to start the year. So
yeah,
I'll kick it off to you and let you start, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so touching on the trucks here. Yeah, so Blake Brown, like he said, getting in the trucks. I mean, pretty much won everything but practice. And even in practice, he spun her out.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
Uh, I was talking to him a little bit in the pits on Sunday morning, and he goes, that's the second time I've ever spun out in my life. And the first time was in a bandolero and my first time on a racetrack 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So the spin out the second time in a truck on practice on cold tires on a cold track on Saturday was something else. So I will say this though, Kellen, you could attest to this. I'm gonna eat some crow here a little bit, um, and how they ran the show on Sunday. I had my doubts.
Yep.
you heard my doubts on the chat on Sunday,
Yep.
and they got her in.
Yep.
Nonetheless, they took advantage of the window that they had. I did. I don't know if I mentioned this in the chat or not, but they ran the truck race, they ran the supers feature, the trucks feature, and the 602 feature.
Yep.
2 laps to go. It started sprinkling a little bit. You could feel a drop here, a drop there. About half the field took the checkered flag, and she opened up.
Really.
Yep, we timed it out perfect.
Okay.
We got all however many laps in that we needed to get in.
Yep.
So it pissed for about 30 seconds and then it stopped again.
Perfect.
But it rained hard enough that track got wet, and obviously that would have called the evening, but perfect
Yep.
timing there. So kudos to the Dells, the Truck Series, everybody there that was able to work through what we had, adjust the schedule, get all the
Yeah.
procedural things taken care of, and get the event in.
Yep.
So, but yeah, talking about the truck race, um, short invert for that one. So all your fast trucks started up front, and it was going to be another track position race like the Dells always is, but nonetheless, you had your comers and goers. Your hard charger was Tristan Swanson, who had some issues in qualifying, had to start in the back, but went 20-4 through that one. But James Swan started out front, Reichenberger started fifth, and your winner, Blake Brown, started seventh, and was then able to take advantage of starting up front like that. And then your other guy that, we almost always talked about, Grant Griesbach started third, led for a good portion of that race. Uh, Forget what the caution was, but there was a caution coming to the restart, took that one to go, and right as he crossed the flag, she died.
Would have been when Van and Bill got together.
Maybe, maybe. Yep.
But yeah, I mean, so a couple of things. These are the notes I made watching the highlight video from. I guess that was, dude. I wanted to be there.
Yep.
The Gremlins bit Greasebach, so he was up front and fast. He was leading the race, wasn't he? Was
Yeah,
he
he
not
was leading the race.
in the
Yep.
race? Um, Mechanical issues take him out of the race. We talked about guys building new trucks. So Greasebach that camp built a new truck. James Swan built a new truck. It's proven that thing is fast.
Yep.
The other piece of this whole conversation: new truck, new body, old body. It doesn't matter. Brandon Reichenberger is going to be fast
Yep.
on his way up front. Um, so when you look at those four guys, those are kind of the guys that when we week in and week out with the truck series, James Swan has won what feels like an infinity amount of races with the series.
Yep.
Brandon's coming off of two championships.
Yep.
Griesbach was ever so close to winning a championship last year. So when you look at those guys, right, and then when you look at how the race played out with Blake Brown, right, like stick him in there. Well, welcome back to the Truck Series, my guy.
Yep.
Um, so I think when you look at it, right, the excitement of the series and the excitement of the season and the series is, man, they're going to have a really good season.
Oh yeah, it's going to be super competitive, like it always is, obviously.
Yeah,
Uh, let's see. I'm trying to find. There it is. I'm trying to remember the team that he's racing for.
Blake Brown,
Yeah,
Slag.
Slag. Yep. And then he's got Purdy as his crew chief. So you got a solid pairing in that,
Yep,
being on that truck. And yeah, first time back out, former champ. We can't forget about that. 2014, former champ of the series.
yep,
Um, Going out and like I said, just dominating quick time. He worked his way up, and on the restart, it was going to be Greasebach, Swan on the front row, and then it was um, Brown, and I think it would have been Reichenberger on the outside.
I think so.
But anyway, all them guys were up there, right? So you knew
Yep,
it was going to be barn burner from there. Brown was able to take advantage of Griesbach having his problems, take the assumption of the front row, and then just kind of manage the race from there. Um, the other
And
caution comes out for some lappers, and he's just again managing the gap, and just pulls away from there.
and two guys that were up front and Nick Van won a couple of races a season ago. A guy that he kind of got tangled up a little bit would have been interesting to see how he ran. Would have been Brady Bill,
Yep,
because he ran in the top three or four until him and Van got together. And unfortunately, it sent those guys to the rear.
yep.
Uh, but it'd have been interesting to see all those two, because Nick Van's usually pretty quick. But to see Brady Bill up front in the truck would have been interesting to see how that all played out.
Yeah, and I think they're running for third and fourth and fifth
Yeah, right in that
at the
neighborhood.
time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
So you got a lot of stout trucks, that were there, 28 in total. Now it's just gonna be a matter of who obviously is gonna run the full season, stick around and have that points championship coming down to the end of the year. Because at this rate, with the competition that's there and the guys that got the new trucks and everything, it's gonna be another tight battle. There's no getting around it.
yeah, for sure. And the truck series they just posted this 13 minutes ago. That final restart, the front two rows or the front four trucks all had gold windshield banners.
Yeah.
So all when you're looking at a late race restart, the first four trucks are series champs.
The guys that know what they're doing.
Yep. So yeah, that was crazy. So what do
I
we
wasn't there
take
either.
off them?
I wasn't there either, but from the highlights and pictures that I was seeing on Facebook, I'm just gonna go on a limb and say Blake Brown not only fastest truck there, but could argue best looking truck. That
Yeah.
black, gray, and bright orange, that thing's got some pop to her.
Yep. That Swanee blue though. Boy,
I knew you were headed that direction. Something new for him this year. And
yep. That's just solid blue that he's got.
yep. Yeah, good race for them.
Yep.
Uh, at the end of the day, everyone wants to race again, and everyone will be able to do so with their equipment. So,
Yep. Yeah, we didn't really wreck anything. Um, Everybody gets to race another day.
yep, for sure.
That's what keeps the series going too, like you said. Um, yeah, these guys not only put on a good show, but do it the right way.
Yep.
And that's what allows a lot of these guys to keep these truck counts up. Is when they race hard, they race clean, and nobody tears shit up for the next event, which is just a couple weeks away.
Yep.
So, yeah, we'll be following along closely with them throughout the year. So, yeah, like you said, those four gold banners. If anybody on the outside, if anybody's never won one, I think you got a pretty good understanding of who you got to go through to get the job done.
Yep.
So we've got them clearly marked now. So catch them if you can. And well, I guess catch them if you can. And then part two of that is can't just catch them, you got to beat them. Yeah, you got to get around them. So that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, and like you said, those guys in the gold banners too, those guys are, I mean, obviously we've had Brandon on the podcast before. As consistent and as solid as you can get. And then Grant Griesbach, Swan, I mean, a lot of those guys, rarely are they ever going to show up and have a bad finish. So, yeah, you know what you got to do, and catching them and passing them is it's as easy as that. So, yeah. Then we can transition here, staying right at the Dells. It's super late model action going. And the Alive for 5 series. And so, a little bit salty that I didn't go with my gut in the Fenhouse pick, but Anytime you're picking Casey Johnson to win a super late model race, you like your odds, but it's the one of the times it bit me. But um, yeah, I guess where do we want to start here with the super late models?
I mean, you touched on it a little bit. It's hard to go against Fenhouse in a Dells race. Like, I don't know what it is. He's just got this place figured out.
It's hard to go against Fenhouse at a Dell's race, and then when he shows up with a brand new race car.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
um, this is, and I think the same could be said for the truck series. It's the first race of the year. It's potentially some new drivers or some new faces. It's new race cars. It's potentially new pairings. And then once things get shook out from there, then it's down to the racing part. So, um, yeah, it's always fun when you get to the start of a new season, seeing some new faces and new divisions and getting that racing. But yeah, when you talked about it, right? Like another guy that started deep but had to come through the field, Gabe Summers.
Yep.
Late in that race, he was coming.
Yep.
Um, so I was just watching the race monitor, just watching times, and Fenhouse pulled out to a pretty significant lead there. There was like a second or a second and a half, and then pretty soon it was down to a second. Then Johnson was running 2/10 of a lap quicker, and he had it under to about 3/4 of a second, and then it just kind of leveled out.
Yep. Lap traffic was definitely a factor in that one. That was probably where Johnson was starting to catch him a little bit. There were some tough goers, tough guys to get around. Some of them were kind of bebopping all over the place. They run low one corner, run high the other, and you can't kind of figure out where they're going. There was a door given at one point in time, and
Yep.
but the thing was too is that throughout the field there was like there always is at the Dells. There was damn good racing. There was a few tire marks that were traded onto doors. Um,
Yep.
but again, it just was solid all around. A guy that yeah, you mentioned Summers. He came up from the back a little bit. Tristan Swanson held his own a little bit. He took the lead early, and then Fenhouse took it from him and just set sailed from there. Um, Jaden Johnson didn't really pay attention to him, kind of snuck through the field, 19th and ninth.
He's
Yeah,
passed
I
some race
know.
cars.
Just kind of
That
out of nowhere.
that kid has been all over the country already this year.
Yep.
Cars tour out to Vegas.
I
I
don't know
mean,
who the guy is. I'm gonna be honest with you,
the only
but
the only thing I noticed, I kind of picked up on it last season when he won Rookie of the Year in the track championship at Slinger in the late models, and now all of a sudden, kids running all over the place.
yep.
So
Um, Talking about again like a short invert, it was a roll of a one. It was a six-car invert. So you want to talk about having your fast cars already up in the front? Oofed. I mean, it shows in the results. This is going from first down, your finishing order or where they started. Fourth, fifth, ninth, seventh, third. Then you got Bobby Kendall with the 14th ruining everything. D'Angelo second, and then Jacob Gady was sixth. That's your top eight.
yeah,
So,
yeah, it's the short inverts. Good luck,
yep,
like really good luck.
yep.
Um, Again, just a pretty clean race, start to finish.
Your typical Dell's race.
Yep. Yeah.
It ends in a Fenhouse win.
Yep.
That's just you guys realize that's back-to-back years for that event, and that's his third icebreaker.
Yeah.
Like whatever it is at April at the Dells, it's Fenhouse time,
And
apparently.
if he can, he's another one of those again that if he can run that full season, you're probably looking at your three contenders for that championship, if not two, and Fenhouse, Johnson, and Somers. Got to give a little shout out to Pensauer as well. Started seventh, finished fourth, just a solid effort, especially under that quickie development program now.
Yep. Yep. Just gonna have to put finishes together. That'd be the name of the game.
I think for him
Um,
too, it's with. I mean, not to call him out, but um, it's not the feet and hands that's going to win him races. It's going to be from the shoulders up. Yeah. So, yeah, our last experience leaving the Dells there, needless to
The
say,
thing is,
that was a wild experience on the headset there, listening to him and Pops talk after him getting spun. And yeah,
the the kid's fast.
Yes.
He's gonna like he's you can see he's learning in a hurry. The kid is fast, and the kid is. I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of 2026, the kids won a super late model race, if not a couple.
Yep.
well, I think that's too. I mean, obviously, you pair that with, I don't want to go down. We could kind of pair this, in the dirt late model world is obviously he's going to be in good equipment. He's got Thor Sports sponsoring that thing, and then not only that, but you talk about who he's got mentoring him, who's got a wealth of knowledge and has done it the right way, and B is going to coach the ever living shit out of him and his pops, Johnny. And so, if you ever listen to him on the radio at the track, you'll hear that firsthand. But that's kind of a Bob Pierce and Bobby, situation, father son pairing, which right can be a blessing and a curse. Obviously, Johnny crazy. I don't want to say crazy, but pretty successful in the truck series in Thor Sport, and now, you know, working with Penn. But like I said, those relationships obviously, sometimes kid thinks he knows more than dad, and takes a little one comment for those guys go off. But like you said, he's in good equipment. He's fast, and then you know, there's going to be a little bit of a maturity thing, I think, to it, where
Oh
he's
yeah.
really starts growing up and understanding how to
He's
do
going
this.
to turn the
And
corner very, very quickly.
correct, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and then not only that, but I mean, finishing fourth, and you're looking at the three guys he finished behind: House, Johnson, and Summers. I feel like Summers is he's going to have something to say at the Dells all the time too.
Got to
So
remember, Summers got pretty much. He's got a new crew chief this year too.
Yep.
correct. So solid start for Fenhouse. I feel like his super late model program went through a little bit of a rough patch last year with smashing some stuff up, and
Yeah.
Kind of. This is gonna be. I don't know if this is gonna sound way out of left field, but almost needs like a Ty Majeski resurgence type of thing. Like, all right, you're kind of your truck deal kind of. We don't know where the truck deal's at. Let's be honest, right? You're
Same
kind of
with the
hanging
head
out there
program.
in limbo as far as what's
Yep.
going on. Head back to the supers, make that program great again, get your name back out there.
I would say a little bit. Again, yeah, I shouldn't. I'm not even going to say it while we're recording. Um, it just like there's yeah, like you said, it feels like there's no we don't have a ton of clarity. The Thor Sport we were hoping was going to be that was going to be the full time ride. That whatever happened is not right now. So I'm assuming he's trying to get his in either a little bit in the truck series, or he's going here and there with that Hettinger program and the O'Reilly series. So yeah, I don't want to compare apples to oranges, but similar situation. The guy we love is Kraus.
Yep.
Is a little bit, when you're not in a NASCAR touring NASCAR series, you got to make the late model your home and put yourself back on the map. And
Yep.
Ben House can do it too. Like,
Oh, yeah. This
so
perfect example, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Exhibit A.
And who knows? Last year, a little bit of a rough year, wrecking some stuff, luck not going his way, smashing some stuff up. Who knows? Last year, he was attention a little bit divided there. Well, he's going back and forth in the Thor Sport truck. If he spends a little bit more time with getting this thing tuned up, he could be the car to beat. So
For sure.
The guy I like to see on a national tour next year.
Yep.
Well,
Absolutely.
ideally, we'd like to see him back in a truck
Well,
full time.
correct, but
But
hey,
sorry,
there's
getting
other
on the
guys making the truck and national tour scene work as it is, right?
yeah. Um,
So
but yeah, I don't. Not talking or talking a little bit outside of top guys. The guy we also had on podcast a while back and just was fast there at the Halloween last fall and just never was missed it in qualifying. And then the race and going his way was Ryan Farrell.
yeah,
So was really solid there at the Halloween and then racing up front and just like I said, first race of the year, like I don't know. Don't want to say the race is a shakedown, but it
yep. I did run into the pits on Sunday morning. He goes, "I see your buddy picked me for race picks."
Yeah, he texted me. He texted me. Um, I text him good luck, and I just said good luck on Saturday or whatever, and he goes, yeah, 10-4. He goes, probably should let you know we did something a little different setup wise before you picked me. And I just I go, well, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. So I'm with you on it.
But
But
he ran good on Saturday when it was cold. I don't know if maybe the heat just would have with it warming up just flipped that car and
yeah, and I think qualifying was a little goofy in where guys kind of ended up just with it being group qualifying.
yep,
I think that kind of shook things up a little bit, and guys weren't really like, I don't want to say guys weren't ready for it, but like it changes things just a touch.
yeah.
When you're paying attention to a little bit more, and just I'm the only car on the racetrack, and I can just have at her.
Well, and yeah, and even then they were doing group qualifying for qualifying, which you never see that in a super,
Right.
right?
It's just they're always single car, and they always send them out one at a time.
Yep,
So I don't know. Maybe it did. Maybe it didn't have a little something to do with it. But
yeah,
um, it was good to see D'Angelo's back and put together a full day
yep,
after the debacle at the Sauter. That kind of ended that season a year ago with putting that thing on its side on the fence.
yep.
So it's good to see him back racing and putting
Say
together a full day.
Hartward tore up a car in that situation. Um, who else tore up in that one?
That one at the Sauter,
Yeah,
that was uh, Bryce Miller, DeAngelis, Levon Vandergeest,
yep.
and
Lemke,
oh yeah.
Lemke.
So it just it's good to see him back racing and one back at the racetrack, two putting together a full day.
Yep, and out of everybody that was in that race, right? Maybe had some bent fenders. Farrell had a bent hood in his situation.
Yeah,
But everybody's cars are out of there in one piece.
pushed him back into the trailer.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
so
and it pushed him in in the trailer in a hurry with the rain that was coming.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
So
You know,
no,
just
overall great, another great event. Really like
excited.
that one.
Yeah, exciting. There's an excitement about it again, right?
Yep, we're back.
Yeah.
hey, who's there at the Halloween wasn't there the old 119 machine?
He was down in Road Atlanta.
Yeah, doing a little road racing, some like
Yep.
fancy like go
That
kart.
little like Jeep looking thing, like
Yeah,
sand dune buggy thing.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. I
Yeah, he
saw
was down
some.
there.
But yeah, I know. Just excited for the year. I don't know, just and maybe I'm just more excited because I missed the first one, but I don't know. I'm excited for the season.
I got my one up on you now this year. You beat me to the racetrack last year, and I beat you this year.
Yep, you sure did. All
You
right.
wouldn't have if the what was it, the nippy 50 last weekend?
Well, it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't have beat him to the racetrack had that not got
Would
canceled.
have been tied.
Yeah, but it'd been a tie because we rode together.
Yeah.
Imagine that. You guys, yeah, you guys get together and you guys bring rain. So, all right.
Well, now
Um,
I'm really the one now because I had rain this weekend too.
Yeah, he's 2 for
yeah,
2.
you are the problem. Yeah, you are the problem. All right. Um, yeah. Like you said, racing season's officially back here in the Midwest. Um, and yeah, good tone setter for the year. Everybody back at the track. Um, hopefully next one we got warmer weather than what we had this past weekend. So um, yeah, solid weekend there. Let's transition here. We got a little bit of a doozy here to talk about. And we got to talk about the NASCAR Cup Series at Bristol. And I guess I hate doing this. And of course, this is the episode that I run. But I guess let's sit down here at a nice little restaurant and I'll put an appetizer in and I'm ordering some crow. Because for those that follow along, about a month ago, we went on this podcast and talked about who we're concerned about and whose jobs we called for. Yeah, and little did I know, I put the old 54 machine on blast and said he's only in the seat because his name's on the side of the building. And here we go. So, hand up, I'll put in an order for some crow and I'll eat it. Um, that little guy got it done. Um,
He did it the hard way too.
took him a while, but he got it done.
Yep.
And yeah, I think that was, I mean, talk about the model consistency. He's been doing it week in and week out. Hasn't got wins, but he's been putting himself in spots. You know, you always go back to the Freddie Kraft quote that says, "If you just run up front, a win will find you."
Yep.
And damn it, Gibbs has been doing that. Um, and
See,
finally gets
and
one.
he's a guy that I haven't trusted lately, and I actually used him in my fantasy lineup because after 5 weeks of him being inside the top 10, I finally felt like I could trust him.
I still don't trust him. Well, no, I should say I didn't trust him, but this is the trust meter was pegged at no trust. I would say it was ice cold. The ice is melting. We got some heat in that thing right now. So
When you've got 6 straight races, 6 straight top tens, and you're 5 for 6 top fives with your one non-top five being a sixth place finish. Damn. And that puts them fourth in points right now.
yeah, dude, I don't know. I don't know if it's because I can't get over, I don't know. I got to get over it. But all I know is, yeah, when I was setting the old fantasy lineup this past weekend, and you see him starting, I think he started P5. It's like no longer keep scrolling. He is officially in the
Yep.
he is officially in the serious conversation, I guess. But outside of that, yeah, he did it the hard way. Beat. I don't want to bring this up. Probably get emotional there. Um, beat the old 12 machine, who was solid. If I mean, dude, that pit crew to fire him. Let's not
Start
talk about
over.
fire.
Just
Let's not talk about firing a driver for once. If you guys want to fire us as a pit crew, you can do that. But we gotta fire Blaney's pit crew because it
man.
was, dude. I was watching that race, yeah, on Sunday when he comes off a pit road and goes -4, drives it back up the front, goes to the pit road again, -5 on the next stop, and it's just like, dude, that poor guy. Like, Yeah,
I was talking
that's
to my grandfather about this. Like, there's multiple factors when it comes to a race team, right? Bringing a good car to the track that starts to the shop. Check. Car is always stout. Your crew chief making great calls and making great adjustments on a race car. Check. Jonathan Hassler's doing that. His spotter always spot on with his calls on Tim Fedua. Check. Driver, right? He's great in the car. Check. Pit crew is the only thing that's missing in this equation right now.
yeah. I'll
Oh,
be curious to see. Do they make a change? Do they?
There was a comment made, and I don't remember where this comment was made, but Jonathan Hassler said that their pit crew has got some new guys on there, and that their jackman is kind of their quarterback, who is one of those new guys, and that they are all pretty much committed with that crew for the season, so that way they are ready to go for the playoffs.
Which you understand. I mean, it's like drafting a rookie quarterback
Yep.
in the NFL. So if it is, if that is the case, like give a little grace, but also you're a professional and you're costing him.
Ultimately, did this race cost him? Did his pit crew cost him the race in this scenario? No,
No,
because of how that last pit stop cycle and strategy played out. So no, ultimately, but there's going to be races where it is, and you don't want those happening in the playoffs. You can take your
correct.
lumps in the regular season, especially with him being second in points right now, right? And especially when it's all about the model consistency. But when playoffs come around, you got to take those points when you get them.
Well, I mean, so the thing about it is with this, at least with this Picker deal with him, is they're very much committed.
Yep.
It's
and
it's
consistent.
it's a sink or swim situation, and so far they've decided to sink. They just it appears that you would think after the first couple weeks, and they go, he has not lost 30 more positions on pit road than any other car in the field. You would think at that point you would go, um, that you would at that point you would Penske would go, sayonara, we're starting over, but they're not.
And
They're committed
and
to it.
the it's not a Penske pit crew problem. It is a Ryan Blaney pit crew problem.
Correct, because it's not consistent across all three of their teams.
Correct.
It's the 12 camp.
Yep.
So yeah, it's just the 12 camp. So they're obviously sink or swim and committed to the situation. So you're either going to figure it out or you're going to drown. Is what's
Yep.
going to happen.
And again, it's once you hit playoff time, and especially when stage points aren't going to be as important once the playoffs come around, but it's those points and those scenarios that are going to set you up for the rest of the race. That's going to hurt.
Correct. It's a little bit you lose here and there. That's really just going to be your dagger.
Yeah, and then switching gears to somebody else, Ty Gibbs um, beat two of the best there with somebody else did. Larson spent a lot of day up front.
Yep.
284 laps led.
Here's my argument to this. Gibbs beat a car with two tires and with four tires
On old tires.
on old tires.
Yep.
I thought for the most part the race was fairly lackadaisical. Outside of Fenhouse and Stenhouse, kind of go together. Stenhouse turning Brad Keselowski, and they said, somebody said you got loose underneath there. He went on Twitter this morning and said, "No, I didn't get loose."
Yep.
So he admitted that. And then the Kyle Busch and Riley Herbst exchange, where
Just
Herbst
wild.
Herbst must moved him at one point, and the eight sailed it off in there and said, I've had enough.
Nope. You ain't got the stout kid to be able to pull that move off.
And speak of the A camp, I was listening to Actions Detrimental, and I don't want to be a guy that's just going to pick all the negatives out of this entire situation. But the thing with that is Kyle Busch is showing flashes in this next gen car. Maybe he just doesn't jive with this car.
He did when he first went to RCR.
Yep.
And whatever happened after that first year, just
It's just, yeah, it's not consistent. There's moments, but it's not consistent. And it's
how
just,
much how much of it is the rest of the field catching up to RCR because RCR was the lead R&D got crew with that.
I mean, maybe, but I, they went from ahead to severe, like the relationship with Jim Pullman and Kyle Busch in that A camp is so fractured.
Yep.
Like they're like, I don't want to say they're lost, but like they kind of are. Like he's loose getting in. We got to get into the corner. I tighten him up, and now we're going slower. What is going on? And those boys were rattled. So
That is so fractured that it, like I wish I shouldn't say this, but for Kyle and that team, I wish in the in the dirt world, sprint car, stuff like that, we can have mutual parting. Like you get the old statement on a random Tuesday night that says so and so has parted ways with so and so. I wish we could have that for those two, for both sides, because week in and week out, guess what? We're getting radio, and what's on the radio?
those two.
It's the same thing going back on. The spotter coming on again this weekend. I don't know. I just have a headset on. I don't. I'm not. I don't have hands on the steering wheel. I don't know. And yeah, it's just the frustration is yeah. I feel like it's hitting boiling point week in and week out. So um
I just,
tough to see, right? Too like
yeah.
from what Kyle Busch was like, the old you see the old tweet that says the fall off of so and so needs to be studied. Like, yeah, I don't know. But talking about somebody who just got a win, can win and cure everything, it can really help. And we just saw Ty Gibbs, who has struggled the
I just
first,
don't know if it does that in this format anymore. He can win a
I know,
race.
but I'm saying for Kyle Busch and his team, the trajectory he's on, could he turn around and right the ship a little bit and start getting a little bit of momentum and could a win, spark something? I think so, but the problem is I feel like we're so far off from a win. Like,
I mean, he
go
fought
get it at Talladega because that's
he fought and scrapped to stay on the lead lap.
yeah.
You know who else had it? I'll go ahead.
I was gonna say 24th in points. You're 34, 44. You're 44 points behind Shane Van Gisbergen in 16th.
Yep.
You got to
So
click off finishes just to get in the top 16 at this point.
speak of Shane, boy, he had himself in a pretzel too.
Brett's dude. Bristol is forever in his nightmares.
Wrecked a couple good race cars in the process too.
It's literally a guy that it shakes at his boots
When he sees Bristol
when he
coming up.
sees Bristol on the schedule.
You know what? You know who else had an absolute disastrous Sunday?
Hendrick,
Well, I was going to say specifically William Byron.
but I'd say Hendrick outside of Larson.
Dude, do you ever see that out of William Byron?
Oh,
He was 2 or 3 laps down at one point.
At one point, he was 3 laps down. He's just riding around the top.
Chase Elliott
somehow,
got turned twice. Yep.
hold on. Oh, I'm looking at standings. I should be looking at something else here.
I mean, he went to the rear for changing the steering box, but let's not hide the fact that that car was bad.
5 laps down, he finished.
And
Awful.
without incident.
That is like, look, that's Logano at Darlington.
They earned finishing 5 laps down.
Correct. Oofed. Just awful.
Yeah.
Bell was terrible too. Given he had his spin,
Dude.
but just never recovered from that. Then he won at fall. He won the
Tough,
fall race last year.
tough use in the fantasy there. The old C Bell.
Just man. Again, that Hendrick camp, like we thought after Martinsville, all right, the boys are back. Like they're running good. The
Negative.
track that they're going to bounce back at, and just bam, down again.
Dude, how about let's go back, not to totally change gears on you. Um, Ford camp there, Todd Gillen getting a top 10.
Yep.
Strategy.
Logano, who said the driver screwed up in qualifying. Um, but another top 10 for our guy, Ryan Preece.
Yep.
There are
I don't
now,
want to go ahead.
I was going to say, there are now 3 drivers. Ryan Priest posted this. There are now 3 drivers
But
who
it finished
has,
on a lap in every race, correct?
yep,
Because
those 3 drivers.
Brad K got eliminated from that conversation, didn't he?
No, Brad K's still in there, I think. Unless, here, let me do it this way. Looking it up right now.
Boy. Oh boy.
Oops. No, it must have been on
Hey,
the Facebook.
while we're talking Ford camp, are we seeing a little bit of a resurgence from Brad K?
Oh, yeah.
Did it just take him breaking his leg?
Here are your first off, the photos that he used as well were awesome. But your 3 drivers that have finished on lead lap of every race. Tyler Reddick, who he used a photo of him at this Brad Keselowski racing days
Yep.
in the truck. Brad Keselowski with the half cut off uh, helmet that he uses in that consumer cellular commercial,
Yep.
and Ryan Preece.
And I don't want to go too wild and too off topic, but um, they actually posted Brad K writing out his 2026 goals in a Sharpie before the year started. And I don't know if you guys ever saw that video. One of his goals was 3 cars in the chase. And as it sits in the point standings, Ryan Preece is your lowest sitting car in the points at 14th.
Old boy's making a case right now.
So
10,
uh,
11, and yeah, 10, 11, and 14.
so that is, yeah, team is always finding some consistency. So
uh my kind of last talking point on this whole event is the attendance is concerning.
was there 50 people there?
The
Dude,
broadcast
I
very
and
much hid the stands, and it was
dude,
evident that the attendance was suffering.
Fox, you use your shitty AI for your promotions. Come on, can you AI some fans in there, please? Don't be showing that on the live broadcast. Come on. So yeah, that's problematic, to say the least. And I saw 2 or 3 messages on X that says, "Is that jeopardy of losing the spring race?"
I don't know.
I'm gonna have
I
an
can't
argument for that.
imagine you're going up against the Masters too on the final day. Like, did we get
But we
viewership
also
numbers
can't.
yet?
A point that I heard is that NASCAR just can't work around everybody else's schedule.
Correct. When you race 36 weekends a year, you ain't going to be able to pick and choose.
Correct. So here's my argument, and then here's my final point. My argument is that the capacity for Bristol is 146,000 people. We got to remember this
It's
is a big stadium.
it's a big venue. Yep.
I'm gonna take Kansas Speedway here for example. Kansas Speedway, their seating capacity is 48,000.
So it's literally 4 times bigger.
So they could have had 45,000 people there, which would have been a pretty good capacity crowd for a Kansas Speedway, but not for a Bristol,
Looks bad.
Yeah.
right? So we got to take that into
What
consideration.
I guess, yeah.
The other point, the one point I want to make, and I want to go back to your original point, the I felt like Friday's truck race was not great because it was all bottom feeder laned.
Yeah, they screwed that up bad.
Xfinity, the latter half of that race got a little widened out, and obviously I didn't get to see most of the cup race, but at least the little bit I saw that top line, and from what I was listening to, that top line was decently there. The thing is, and this could help attendance, but I'm not going to take that into factor. The part of it is that you gotta get Bristol multi-laned again.
Yep.
Whether
You
it's
can't be you can't be free trainer on the bottom.
yeah, you get rid of the PJ1, you do the tire dragging again, like whatever it is, like it's too bottom feeder again. Now, that's what old Bristol used to be, right? But it's almost you gotta let the tire and the teams naturally bring the track in,
Correct.
not manufacture something.
Early estimates for the April 2026 weekend at Bristol Motor Speedway attendance for the Cup Series race was roughly anywhere from 60 to 90,000 people,
So even if you take the low end of that at
creating
60,
a visual appearance for empty seats in the 146,000 capacity seated stadium.
so again, if you take the lower part of that and put it into Kansas, that's a capacity crowd.
Yeah. I was doing a little research as you're talking. I saw 70,000.
So take that for what you feel like it's worth. We're also going off of history where it was hard to get a ticket into there.
Yeah, this is true too.
And last but not least, we're not a politics podcast, but damn, the economy ain't helping shit for race attendance. So,
People are pinching pennies.
yep. And the first thing to go is recreation.
Yep.
Any other final thoughts on Bristol?
No, we got to get it fixed though. Got to get it fixed.
Bristol's still a good, cool, perfect track. I don't know.
I agree.
We can go back to that
Blaney
old red
needs.
tape.
We need a pit crew.
And we can go back a couple years. We get that red tape out.
Talking red tape or red clay?
Tape. You know, the option tire.
Oh,
Remember that video game shit?
And 1 year they had the exploding tires that just made it like 15 laps.
Yeah.
Goodyear had to mount more up.
oh man!
Oh shoot. Yeah.
Bring back the
Yeah.
underglow.
Stop!
Yeah.
Stop!
Night racing
Yeah.
and underglow.
Yep. Yeah. That would be. Bring the underglow back. All right. Let's. No, for real. I'd be a fan of bringing the underglow back for night races. um. Let's get into handing out the prestigious Wheelman of the Week award here. We got looks like 5 nominees here, and boots on the ground here at Dell's. I'll let him take the first two.
Yeah. So obviously we talked about him here a little while ago. Luke Fenhouse wins back-to-back icebreakers, his third win in that event. And then in the Truck Series, Blake Brown wins in his first race back in the Truck Series at the Dells as well.
I'll take this next one, Kel. You can have the last two. JD gets back to his winning ways. He sweeps the weekend with the MLRA at Lucas Oil.
Final two, Caden Quapple wins late model stock cars tour race at Nashville, and their maiden voyage up there. That is back-to-back cars tour wins for him, extending his point lead with the cars tour. Last one, we just talked about it. Ty Gibbs finally shuts it all down and wins a cup race. I'm between two.
I've got my one.
Cam, fire away.
Um, yeah, never mind.
Both
I
of
got
my
mine.
guys are both of my guys are going to have a chance at it the rest of the year.
So one of yours is Blake Brown.
Yep. Come on.
You're going Luke, aren't you?
It's between those two.
See, no, now we got a problem because I'm going a completely opposite way.
You really?
Yep.
Where were you going to go?
Ty Gibbs.
Oh, I was, man, when I looked at the list, I was stuck between Blake Brown and Luke Fenhouse.
All right, Cam.
I'm going Fenhouse.
Majority vote.
I mean, I think I have to.
All right.
I had to. Gibbs could turn around and win this week at Kansas yet.
No, you're not wrong. I
And are
just
you, I
thought,
guess, I think you need to get more clear on what Wheelman of the Week award is.
well, we all need to get clear as far as Wheelman of the Week award is.
Is Wheelman of the Week the squirrel finding a nut? Or is
We just
Wheelman of the
talked
Week
that he
used?
beat.
Could it just be a little bit of a snoozer? Hey, guy gets out in front and goes, crushes the field. I think that's could it
Flavor
be
of
a
the
guy that
week.
doesn't win a race, but he goes plus 21, starts from the back and drives it.
It's
Yeah, I think
flavor
you
of the
got to do
week.
some. I think you got to do some soul searching.
I think we need to. I think we as a group.
All right.
I think we maybe
So
just need to put together a definition for this and just put that out into the universe so everyone knows exactly what we're working with.
No, because this is content right here.
but yeah.
There's even your clip. There's your 20-second clip for the old TikTok or
Yeah,
Reels or whatever.
yep, this is true.
So Luke Fenhouse, Wheelman of the Week, gets his third icebreaker win and sets the tone here for the 2026 season. Hitting on the schedule quick. Anybody want to hit on what's ahead? What we got this week, or
I can
you
hit
guys
on
want
it.
to
It
check
is
out?
out on our socials as well. Um, Dirt Kings late models did postpone. I don't think I put it on the schedule, but they did postpone to next week.
Yep.
Um, Otherwise, yeah, going through this real quick. You got Mars Dirt Late Models at Cedar County and then 34 Raceway. High Limits back in action. They're going to be at Lakeside to start, and then they're going to hit Lucas Oil. The World Outlaw Sprint Cars are going to be at Jacksonville and Tri-State Speedway. Arc Bernard's, O'Reilly's, and the Cup Series are all going to be at Kansas this week. ASA Southern Super Series back in action at Montgomery Motor Speedway for the Rumble by the River. The Big Eight Late Models, another touring late model series up here. They start at Grundy County this weekend for the Spring Classic. IHRA stock cars are going to be at Cordell Speedway. IMSA and IndyCar will be on the streets of Long Beach for the Acura Grand Prix. IRA sprint cars are going to be starting up at Maquoketa this weekend. And then actually, I think that's about everybody.
Yeah. Those are posted on all of our socials already.
Yep.
And if any of them are in your area, get to the track.
Yep.
So, before we get out of here, let's we're gonna make a race pick here for Kansas, and yeah, it's getting a little bit annoying here with the old tire changer. So,
Kind of had it with that, so let's get it together here.
yeah, I'm sick of this shit. So let's make him have a bad week. Kel, you go first.
Ty Gibbs.
Oh,
Back to back.
His top 10 streak is insane.
points racing. He's points racing.
He's points
You know
racing.
what? Time
Maybe
out.
blew
Take
the
it
lid off this thing.
Take a T right now, just for a second, because I picked the guy that finished 5th 2 weeks ago and he got last in the race picks. So you can eat crow.
This track's usually, I feel like, fits his driving style, but give me hung money. He's right up there with Blaney going for broke or busting. So I will ride that train this week. He'll probably have that thing about 2 inches from the wall, but
Well,
it'll be entertaining to see the least.
There's 2 other Toyotas that are going to be pretty fast.
yep, and I'm going to take one of them.
Reddick?
And he's the other guy that likes to ride that wall. Give me Reddick.
Yeah. Reddick or Bubba. Bubba will be good there too, I think. But who knows?
Yeah, I guess we got to start making some ground here on the old tire changer. So
this week was fantastic for me.
We got to get that ship righted.
Yeah, we need a couple.
That's enough of that.
Yeah, we need a couple flat tires from him. So, all right. Any other final thoughts?
No. Finally got the lid off for racing season up here.
Yep.
Finally.
Yeah. So, like we said, if you've got a race at a track near you and you got nothing going on, support your local short track. Test out their concession stands. See if you can find a racetrack treat. And then, mentioned it earlier on the episode. We appreciate all of you that follow along and listen with us and have some fun with us. If you haven't figured out by now, we're not professionals, but we have a lot of fun doing this. So, as always, like, comment, subscribe. We're burning it down, and we'll see y'all next week for another episode of the Tuesday Track Talk.